and containing violent extremism in this country. So we welcome all of you warmly, and we will zoom straight into the program. I would like to call on Reverend Joseph A. Bani, who is the head of the Assemblies of God Church in this area, to give us the opening prayer. Please come. Yes,
please. Okay, let us pray. Our dear Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, this morning your sons and daughters are guided here to talk about how we can foster peace, and there will be unity, and if there is peace, progress and blessings will be ours. I pray that, Lord, whoever will have anything to do here, Father, let us all do it under the influence of your leading, that at the end of it all, we will take decisions that can be a blessing to the region and the nation as a whole. Thank you for answering our prayers. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend. So for us at NCC, anytime I'm emceeing, I have to restate this. That for us, anytime we're having a program, we try to recite the national anthem, because it's one of the national values that as a country we have. So with your permission, Regional Minister, Madam Chair, Deputy Chairman, and all the dignitaries here, please, we shall rise. They will sing the national anthem with passion. If I say passion, I expect that we listen to the words in the national anthem. There are certain values in the national anthem that we should all, recite with passion, with the spirit of patriotism and all that. So I'm going to start. God bless our homeland, Ghana. Please, we all have a way we stand, and we have to respect our national anthem. Ready, go. Thank you very much. We may have our seats. We are warming up slowly, but we need to know the people gathered here. And with your permission, Madam, I would like to introduce some of our dignitaries. And along the line, I will mention the institutions that we have here. So a team from head office, if I say head office, Accra, National Commission for Civic Education. For those of us who don't know much about us, NCC, National Commission for Civic Education. Our mandate is to promote and sustain Ghana's democracy. And we do this effectively through public education and civic education. So anytime you see NCC, the logo and all these acronyms, you should know that this is the work we do. We are privileged today to have our chairperson in the house. She is Miss Kathleen Addy. Please welcome, Madam. So Madam is not here alone. She's here with her two deputies. We have our deputy chairman in charge of operations, Mr. Samuel Asari Ekwamwa. Madam has two deputies. I have introduced Mr. Ekwamwa. The next deputy is Mr. Lawyer, Mr. Victor Brobe. He is our deputy chairman in charge of finance and administration. And the commission has commission members. They help our executives to execute their mandate. We have two of them here. The very first person on the list is Mrs. Hajara Mohammed Rufaya. The next person is Mr. Bright Kwabla Agodeka. We also have our commission secretary. There's someone who serves the commission, and her title is Commission Secretary, and she's in the person of Mrs. Lucille Hillett Annan. We have our regional director here. Director, are you around? Oh, let's appreciate our director. Director and his team are also around from Northeast. And then we are privileged to have our special guest in the house, the owner, if I am permitted to say so, of the region, the one who is superintending over the region. That is the regional minister, and he is in the person of Honorable Dr. Yidani Zakaria. We still have very important dignitaries in our midst, and I'll continue with that. So we have the divisional police commander. When I saw him, I was amazed because I used to interview him back on radio. Chief Superintendent Cephas Arthur. We also have some chiefs in our mix. We have the paramount chief of Bankoni. Please, did I get the name right? Thank you. Thank you for coming, sir. We also have paramount chief for Bangbing. Yeah, thank you. We have some media personalities here. We have reps from GNA, GTV, Tiza FM, Loom FM, UTV, Daily Graphic. With your permission, as the program proceeds, I will still run us through the dignitaries that we have here. But just to mention that everything we'll be doing here is being streamed live on all NCC digital platforms. So you can just pick up your phone, visit NCCGH on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, and you find us there. And this program is also being broadcast live on Tiza FM 107.5. Okay, so we also have the Nairis representative here with us. Welcome, sir. Okay. So I'll just move on. I'll just want to say Maraba. Those from Accra are just wondering, what is she saying? Maraba simply means welcome. So this is what I learned last night. Thank you. So at this point, with Madam's permission, I would like to call on her to give us her opening remarks. She has invited us here. She has to tell us why we are here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for the capable Rita, who is the deputy. She didn't introduce herself. She's the deputy director in charge of communications and corporate affairs at the National Commission for Civic Education. Honorable Regional Minister, Honorable Paramount Chiefs gathered, the heads, the chiefs of the forces gathered, all the invited guests, we acknowledge you very strongly this morning. Thank you for coming. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, good morning to all of you. Please, good morning. Good morning. Sounds a lot better. Thank you. It does give me great pleasure to be here in Nalerigu. It does give me great pleasure to be here in Nalerigu in the northeast region of Ghana. I'm very familiar with many places in northern Ghana, but I have never been here before. So I am extremely excited to be here for the first time. And I hope that after today, I will have the opportunity to visit this part of the country more often. It's really beautiful here. When we drove into the town, I was so impressed. It's beautiful, it's neat, and I think that we are very fortunate. Those of you who live here are fortunate to be here in this part of the country. We are here today for the fifth in a series of dialogues that form part of the NCCE's Preventing and Containing Violent Extremism project. Have noticed the trend of extreme partisanship that is leaving less and less room for collaboration at the political level. And we are highlighting this because you see, at the end of the day, somebody is going to win the election. It doesn't mean that the world has come to an end for the rest of the people who may not necessarily have supported that person. It is so important that we look past our political leanings and focus on our country, Ghana, and focus on what is important and what will keep us safe and what will keep us developing. So even though it is so important as citizens in a democratic state, it is so important for us to be active in the governance of our country. And being active means that also being active in political parties. It is even more important to recognize that there is only this one Ghana that we have. There is no other Ghana anywhere for us. If we mess this Ghana up, we are in big trouble because all around us, we are learning from the mistakes that the neighboring countries have made that has destabilized countries around us. We want to do better. And so we are highlighting extreme partisanship. It is okay to support a political party, but it is not okay to be intolerant of other views, other political views from people who support other parties. Another issue we are highlighting this election season is religious intolerance. First, I spoke about political intolerance. I'm also speaking about religious intolerance. Here in Ghana, we have always lived in peace. We have never had any problem with religion. In every community, people from different religions have always lived in peace without any problem. This year should not be any different. There is nothing this year that should make that any different. Please, let's not start another area of concern whereby it is now religious tension created because people want to encourage other people to vote according to religion or one way or the other. Let's not go down that road. We have enough problems to deal with every election season, and we don't want to add this one. We know that in countries where there is division on religious lines, there's never any progress. There's only pain and suffering. So I am appealing to all of us here not to go down that road and to continue to live in peace and in a tolerant environment, especially where religion is concerned. We also want to highlight vote selling and vote buying. In the past, it was just vote buying, right? But now people are also doing active vote selling. We are making high demands to vote one way or the other. This is an aberration of the democracy that we set out and committed to practice. if we are going to vote based only on who gives us the biggest amount of money, it is very possible that we will not find the person, we will not end up electing the person who actually can do the job. So let's go beyond money. Let us go beyond money and start looking at the messages that people have for us, the plans to involve everybody and pull everybody along to be part of the promise of the democracy. Vote selling and vote buying is something that has also gone up over the period. There are more and more, there's more incidents of that these days. In the past, it was hidden, it was small gifts, but today we find large amounts of money being exchanged. And I don't think it's healthy. It's a healthy practice for a democracy like ours. We also have misinformation, disinformation, and fake news. As we all know, we are in the age of IT, the age of social media, the age of the internet. We all have WhatsApp. We all get messages, and we don't even check to see whether this message is true or not. Especially when the message is controversial, is divisive, is inflammatory, or inciting. We just forward the messages, pushing it, not knowing that you could just be forwarding somebody's agenda that you don't even know anything about. Please, let us be more cautious in spreading news, especially in this election season. If we are not careful, just because of one wrong forward to the wrong person, we will ignite a fire that we may not be able to diffuse. So please, on the issue of misinformation, disinformation, and fake news, we all have different accounts, Facebook, Instagram, but we should be careful because somebody can put out a message that is highly inflammable, a message that will cause you so much anger and pain. When you see messages like that, please step back, take a deep breath, check. Is this right? Is this true? Was this really said? Was this exactly what was said? Because they can even tweak the message a little, even though the whole message is still there. And then there will be problems all around. It is important also that when somebody sends a message that is extremely offensive to you, you manage the emotions. That you don't go on the first initial emotion that you get, whether it's that of anger or vengeance or any of those things. When you see somebody trying to provoke you intentionally, step back and take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this really worth this initial action that I'm planning to take? If we all do this, we will keep our country safe. If we don't do this and we just allow ourselves to be pushed in all directions with inflammatory messages, with insightful messages, we will bring our country down. And like I said before, there is only this one Ghana. If we don't keep it safe, there will be nowhere else for us to go. I also want to touch on the sensitive issue of chieftaincy dispute, because a lot of chieftaincy disputes have been around for a long time, always managed, always finding our way through. But this election year, let's not allow other forces to exacerbate the disputes that are existing. Let us not allow divisions to create way for external forces, from violent extremists, from other forces operating in the sub-region, to insert themselves into our family disagreements to a point where we now do something that we will all regret. This is not, in Ghana, there are a lot of chieftaincy disputes around. And we give this message everywhere because we know that our traditional rulers have the respect of the people. We know that traditional rulers command a lot of respect and following. And so it is so important that we manage these disputes and little conflicts that we have so that we don't expose ourselves to external forces that will worsen things for us. If you look around this beautiful land, the development that is happening, that has happened in the past. If we are not careful and we allow other forces to infiltrate, we will destroy the little that we have. And then we will have to start afresh. And that cannot be good for anybody. And so this election year, let's not mix up these things, because the more you mix things up, things like extreme partisanship, religious intolerance, chieftaincy disputes, the more we mix them up and amplify these things, the more vulnerable we are to the external threats that we face as a country. Violent extremists thrive where there's existing conflict. They take advantage of disagreements to deepen the conflict and heighten tensions so that communities and states become divided and susceptible to disruption. This election year, NCC, we have a very strong youth focus because the population of our country now has more young people than older people. More than 70% of the population, more than 70% of the population is now under the age of 35. And so we are heavily focusing on young people because we don't want them to allow themselves to be used to promote any of these agendas that I have talked about. This year, let's not shed any blood because of elections. It's not worth it. Everybody in Ghana, every Ghanaian's blood is too precious. Too precious. Let us value ourselves. Let us not allow ourselves to be used to create problems, to create tensions, and to reach a point where there's bloodshed. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So please, young people, in spite of every difficulty that we might be facing, let us be part of the solution. Help to keep the peace rather than help to disrupt the peace. So this year, for all our programs, we have a very strong youth focus. We are doing special programs with young people, with the political party youth wings, with young people in communities, especially people who are most vulnerable due to unemployment, lack of opportunity, and all of these things. And we are imploring you, your life is valuable, and the state values you. So please, don't give it up easily. Don't give it up easily for anybody. There's one more thing I want to touch on, and it is because a few days ago we celebrate the tree planting day in Ghana. This area is green now, but it's close to the Sahel and to the desert. And one of the ways in which we can literally halt desertification and keep the land fertile so that we can grow food, thrive and prosper is by planting trees. I want to encourage everybody here that this month of June is the environmental month. And so I'm encouraging everybody to plant a tree, and not just plant the tree, but look after the tree to grow. Because planting is one thing, but a tree seedling is like a child. You can't just give birth to the child and walk away.
See you, please. Give my names, yeah. We also have the National Investigative Bureau. Please, can we see you? Okay, yeah. I saw the wave. And then we have the Ghana Ambulance Service and then Ghana National Fire Service. I also like to acknowledge the Chief Director for this beautiful, place. He's the person of Alhaji Mohammed Akape. Did I get it right? Okay, thank you for hosting us. And then we have the Yo-Yo Pana Nafisa Dauda. That is she's a queen mother. Please, are you here? Can we acknowledge you? Yes, thank you. We also have the president of Queen Mothers Association in the Northeast region. Thank you very much. Okay. We have students of Nalerigu Secondary School. Hello. We also have CEC club members from Nalerigu Nursing Training School. Can you give us a wave? Great. Good to have you. There are lots of organizations and institutions who are here this morning, and we are happy to have all of you, so it's only right that we acknowledge you. We have national security reps here. We have reps from Department of Children. We have reps from people with disabilities, FDA, Northeast Regional Coordinating Council, Ghana Ambulance Service, Ghana Police Service, Department of Social Welfare, National Road Safety, NADMO, Assemblies of God, ISD. We have political party reps here from the PPP, NPP, CPP. We have a chief imam rep also here with us. And we have reps from the Regional House of Chiefs. And then we have Youth Employment Agency. NDC is also here with us. And then we have Tailors Association, Hairdressers Association, and then the Center for National Culture. As and when I receive the list, I will come back here to acknowledge all of you. Thank you very much for coming. And our chiefs, respectfully, if I have missed out on any of you, please, my apologies, and I will revisit that. Thank you. So at this point, we have our special guest in our midst, and he is gracing today's occasion for us. He is hosting here in the region. Some of us are enjoying ourselves because they have a very large landscape. Very soon we'll come and take some of the lands. And then this is a very beautiful place as well. So, Madam, with your permission, I would like to invite the regional minister, who is our special guest today, to give us his special remarks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Madam Chairperson, National Commission for Civic Education, the two deputies, Director of Administration and Finance, and Director of Operations, Commissioners of NCCE, the Rep of the Overlord and King of the Mamprogo Kingdom, the Nayiri, Mba Bankona, the Paramount Chief of Bankoni Traditional Area, Chiefs present, Service Commanders, Heads of Institutions, my dynamic Regional Coordinating Director, presiding members, if they are here, the Headmaster or Rep of Great Nurse, students, the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for the NCCE to extend to me an invitation to be part of today's dialogue, an engagement that will further promote the peace and unity of this nation. For those of us around this area, we have seen instances, we have experienced instances of threats of violence, extremism. There have been cases where citizens of our neighboring countries sought refuge here in Ghana. There have been cases in this region where we have had to act to dislodge people who found a hiding place in the Northeast region to train. To train for what? I do not know. But thankfully, the security were able to monitor the situation, and when they sensed danger, they had to escape. We also know that the 2024 data on Global Peace Index tells us that our neighbor, our closest neighbor, Burkina Faso, is ranked number 1 in the world in terms of violent extremism. Third, in the same ranking, is Mali. These two countries are our neighbors. And the issues of violent extremism still continue in those countries. We, as people of the Northeast region, are not insulated from the acts of these terrorists. That is a wake-up call to all of us, not just actors in government, but all of us. It's a wake-up call that we need to live up to our civic responsibilities. So you recall some time back, there was this mantra, see something, say something. It was just meant for Ghanaians to live up to the task of reporting people who we suspect can be a threat to this nation. So we must keep our guard, because if there are incidences of violent extremism in our neighboring countries, we will be the first to feel the impact of it before others, because by proximity we are closer to Burkina Faso, to Mali, to Togo, and the other countries. So today's engagement is dear to the future of this nation. We must all act together to preserve the peace of Ghana. Madam Chairperson mentioned it, the issue of chieftaincy and land disputes in the Northeast region. The situation has remarkably improved. Before, there were several cases of chieftaincy and land disputes. But due to some engagement at different levels and at the palace of the Nalerigu, we have been able to deal with some of these internal threats to the peace of the Northeast region and to Ghana. But that is not the end of it. We will still need to work together to address these issues. But my call has always been that with the chieftaincy institution, the problem has always been the issue of succession. Is it possible that as people of this region, led by the traditional authorities, we are able to codify the succession plans? If we are able to do this, then there will not be any problem. But anytime there is enskinment, and people come to understand that the person enskinned is affiliated to that skin, we normally do not experience violence and threats. But where they deem it that some people are trying to take over what traditionally is theirs, that is when tempers go high and people act violently. Then the issue of land. I have always argued that violence linked to the issue of land has been one of dishonesty, because the boundaries delineating land did not start today. Several centuries, several years back. But when people think that because land is a fixed resource and we need to have it, and they dare into the land that belongs to others, you certainly will not expect that they will sit down and watch. So I want to emphasize here that all matters relating to land disputes must be revisited, and the existing boundaries before colonial times will be what will save us. But if you tread into somebody's land, you are certainly not going to have it easy. The other issue, Ghana has had successful elections, transitioning from one government to another, one party handing over power to another. This happened in 2000. It happened again in 2008. Then the last was in 2016. We are into 2024 elections. This nation will never break. Let's have peaceful, transparent, and fair elections so that we can hand over power peacefully. The nation Ghana is bigger than any political party. I want to emphasize here that the growing trend of abusive language, the pervasive trend of intolerance does not do this nation any good. We may belong to different parties. We may hold different political ideologies. But our strength lies in our differences. We should not get to a point where we take entrenched positions. We label each other as people who belong to one party, being destructive. They don't care about the future of that mother Ghana, and then another group thinking that they have the rights to be in leadership. We should not get to that point. It's the Ghanaian populace that has the right to determine who leads this nation, and that can happen through elections. So from where I sit, I want to encourage everybody that election 2024 is never a do or die matter. Let's be civil in our language. Let's be engaging. But let's respect our political differences so that at the end of the day, whoever emerges leader, Ghana will be on the forward march to development. I have seen instances, sorry to say, where teachers who are the trainers of our future leaders have taken certain political stance, wearing red berets in schools, sending a signal that they are revolutionaries. We cannot have revolutionaries in a democracy. If we have imbibed the concept of democracy and we want to work with democracy, then revolutionary thinking, revolutionary behaviors must be shielded. I know there's no law in this country that will ban anybody or define the dress code of teachers. But when that takes a center stage, it's a recipe for indoctrination of the youth of this nation. And I want to condemn such behaviors. I am a teacher myself, and I just think that as teachers, let's focus on the core functions that the nation has entrusted to us. Because the future of every nation, more or less, is an image of the teachers. When you have very good teachers who are law-abiding, who are up to the task, then we are very sure that we will train better future leaders for this nation. There's a law here in Ghana that has banned the activities of political vigilantism. Some elements think that they are the ones who can protect the ballot boxes. When we have state security to protect the ballot boxes, this law is there. But the tendency of some vigilantist groups appearing closer to election 2024 is very high. And I want to urge everybody that as chairman of the Regional Security Council, I can only work with state institutions, state security agencies mandated to protect the peace and stability of this country. And so if there is any thinking anywhere in the region that we will revisit political vigilantism, it's a non-starter. And so by this, I am appealing to the security agencies who are heavily represented here, that the Regional Security Council will not tolerate any such acts. When we do, we make attempts to mortgage our democracy. And I don't think anybody in his right senses will do so. Before I take my seat, there is a new evil that is taking center stage across Ghana. I am much concerned about the Northeast region, the use of abusive substances. We are closer to Togo, we are closer to Burkina and Mali. And they easily import these things from those countries into Ghana. Much as the institutions mandated to fight this do their work day and night, those engaged in these businesses are able to outwit them. So the use of tramadol is on the increase. The use of other hard substances is on the increase. And I know we see this in our communities. We experience it daily. And those who sell these hard substances to destroy the future of our youth are making good money at the expense of the future of Mother Ghana. Chiefs should be at the forefront in fighting this, because those who sell these hard substances are in the communities. And I know some chiefs have taken that initiative. I am therefore appealing to the rep of the Nairi and other chiefs present to join that fight. Let's catch them, let's name them, and let's shame them for the future of Mother Ghana. It's so disturbing. And when the security are able to effect any arrest, the issue is not about these substances. They either make it political or find some other reasons, and they get some people to get a buy-in into such considerations. And you begin to wonder what we want as a nation. So, ladies and gentlemen, the future belongs to us. My appeal to the NCC is that we have many educated Ghanaians, well educated, but we are suspect when it comes to our civic rights and responsibilities. It doesn't matter your level of education. Sometimes we gloss over it. So I want to appeal to you that this is the way to go. The engagement as we have it. We can have it on radio. We can have it TV discussion. Any other forum that is deemed possible. Let's engage in such things. Because when we educate the minds of Ghanaians to let them understand the laws, the do's and don'ts, the better this nation will be. But I want to give you every assurance that Northeast region is on the forward march. We have a lot of catching up to do, and anything that will disturb the peace of this region will not be tolerated. We will resist it with all the force that we have. So on that note, I thank you so much for finding me worthy to be part of today's engagement. God bless each and every one of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Regional Minister, Honorable Alhaji Yidani Zakaria. Impusia Pam. Yidana. Okay, thank you. Impusia Pam. I want Madam to know that I'm learning the language. It means thank you very much. Okay. So we want to acknowledge the European Union. If you look around, you see the EU logo all over. They are making this gathering possible. Oh, let's appreciate European Union. And for us at NCC this year, if you look right behind me, please, what can you see respectfully? Can we all read? Okay, I'll read first, then we'll all continue. Together, we can build Ghana, so get involved. This is our theme for the year, our working theme. So if you listen to Madam Chair, most of the things she mentioned touch on the need for all of us to get involved, to get to make Ghana a better place. So we are all going to mention it. Together we can build Ghana, so get involved. 1, 2. I didn't hear. Again, please. Great. And this is very well explanatory. So, I mean, wherever you find yourself, tell your neighbor and your neighbor's neighbor, your families, that together we can all build Ghana, so we should all get involved. Participate in NCC's programs everywhere, and we can always give you the civic messages that you need, so you can also play your role as a nation builder. I'll continue with the acknowledgements. We have the Nalerigu Youth Association in our midst. Please, let's welcome them. We also have Ghana Enterprise Agency. Where are you? Let's see you, please. We are happy to have you here. Then we have the Ghana Health Service, reps from Ghana Health Service. Thank you for coming. We also have reps from the Presbyterian Church of Ghana. Great. Good to see you. So at this point, we would like to invite the drama group from the Nalerigu Senior High School. They are going to give us a very brief sketch, so that after that we will now go into our discussions for the day. Please, let's appreciate Nalerigu Senior High School. Oh, is that all you can do?
Babe, is there anything in the kitchen? I'm hungry.
The only thing you can ask of is food. You don't play your role as the husband of the house.
How can you
the man of the
speak to me in
house?
this manner?
You're supposed to know where your son is.
You know I'm always working at the back and all this. I'm always busy. I always come in the night. How will I be?
Now your son has changed.
Even if there is something, but you don't speak to me in a polite manner. Why are you speaking to me in this manner?
But you are the man of the house. You're supposed to know where your son is at this time. And you are asking of food.
What's up, mommy? What's up, daddy? Come here. Where from you?
I'm from my friend's house.
We're not supposed to be in school by
Be in
this
school for what? You are forcing me in this house. Why should I be
Shut up.
big boy? I can take care of myself. What is school? I will not go to school, daddy. Forget about school.
Shut up.
Shut up for what? Daddy, school is wasting of time. I don't want to go.
So after all the investment I've made in your education.
Hey guy, where are you running to? Is that my parents? They are forcing me to go to school. I don't want to go to school.
Hey guy, guys should go to school nowadays. We don't talk about school. We want money.
I want money.
Hey, forget about them, okay? Do you want to make money?
To make money. I want to make money.
Okay, if you just want to make money, follow me. I'll send you to my gang members. You go make money. Forget about them. Follow me. What is school now? Oh, boss, how do? Yo, guy.
Ragadan, where from this guy?
Oh, boss, this guy I don't pick him from street. Say he want money, so I don't beg him to join us.
Ragadan, you sure say you go do am?
Oh, boss, I trust him. He go do him.
Guy, you go fit do am?
Oh, I go do am, boss. I'm ready. I go do am.
Ragadan, carry something, give am, make we see.
Okay, boss.
Boss, me I not trust this guy. The way they look at him, I not trust him. I not trust this guy.
Where's it?
Give him the water.
Hey,
guy!
Are you mad?
You won't make money where they shout for this place.
You mad, idiot.
Ragadan, put talk, you say this guy no go do am.
Boss, please, I'm coming. Hey, guy.
It's too high.
Hey, calm down. For here, no pain, no gain, no. You have to be a man, okay? Be strong, okay? Come back.
Take am.
Over here, we know the joke. You for here?
Yeah. It enter the head. It enter the
Be a
head.
man, guy. Be a man.
That's good. Now you are okay, eh? So, do you know something? We are going to do an operation at GBC Bank.
GBC Bank.
Yes.
That's where my father.
Hey, guy.
Hey, guy, you want money, you don't want your father, okay?
Even your father
Don't talk about your father, We want the money, okay? So, you tell us the directions where he sleep and the time that we'll be moving around so that when we go there, we'll be able to get the money, okay?
Okay. Forget that old man. If you go to the bank where he's sleeping, out of the corner there, that's where he keeps the keys. And to the banks, you enter. He's asleep by 11:30. You get the money.
Okay. This evening we'll be going there. Okay.
Okay.
So get ready.
No pain.
No gain.
No pain.
No gain. Hey boss. Hey guy. You lead us, okay?
Guys, let's move to the GCV bank now.
Okay, boss. Guys, let's go. Please, innocent, please, face the ground. Don't kill me, fear God. Hey guys, get in and search. Please fear God. Guys, search everywhere. Please fear God. Guys, search.
Hello, officer.
Don't kill me. Guys, search everywhere.
Hello.
Please, guys, search. I'm innocent. Hey, fear God.
On a GBC bank.
Guys, you fast. Please fear God.
Hey, we don't fear God here.
Guys, please, don't kill me.
Keep quiet.
Hey, put yourself on the ground. Please, guys, search everywhere. Please, don't kill me. Guys, search everywhere. Guys, search. Hey, the police are coming. Pass the board down. Officer, it's like they overpowered us. Hello, boss. The police have been sacked us. One of us have been shot, boss.
You get the money and
Yes, boss.
come back.
Guys, let's go.
Why are you so excited like that?
Why shouldn't I be excited?
What is wrong? What is going on?
First position in my class and my father bought me strawberry. I'm so
Strawberry, then you're happy. Me, they bought me Esa now. I was the first person in our class. I took first position.
Let me see.
My dad is... See?
Snap me.
Let me... Come back.
What is that? Let's go and find
No, let's go back.
Let's go.
Let's go back.
Calm down.
What is going on?
You know him?
Yes.
Who is that?
Your classmate. My neighbor.
Dawson. Calm down. Do you know something? You're forgetting about our school club. Preventing and
control violence extremism.
That
if you see something, say something.
With their short code 999.
But I don't have credit, so.
There's no demands about credit.
Okay, then let's call them.
Hello. Please, this is a matter from Nalerigu near GBC Bank. There is someone lying down unconscious. Please, we need your help.
Alright, thank you. We'll be right there soon.
Okay.
Sergeant! Get the other officers. There's an emergency at the GCB Bank. Let's move!
Please, here he is.
Thank you. Surround the crime scene. Officer, take care of them. Check him.
How come?
We don't know. We met him
lying down. Like
Okay. Keep still and we'll check and see what happened.
Sir.
Yes. All right. Get the boys for them to come and carry him.
Yesterday, I was attacked by some gunmen at the P.C.V.E bank where I'm working. So the kind of beatings I received them, my waist.
Oh, we thank God for saving your life. Don't worry, baby. Tonight I will massage you. Don't worry.
It's not easy.
Don't worry. Tonight I will massage you. Because I was fast asleep yesterday night, I didn't hear what you were saying.
Is anybody home? Is anybody home?
Please, who's at the door?
Police officers from the Nalerigu police headquarters.
Charge! They are coming to arrest me. They think I'm a suspect. Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! Do you know something? Wait! Amama. So let's go and listen to what they have for us. Let's listen to what they have for us. Wait. Please come in.
Thank you. Officers, follow me. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Inspector Atie from the Nalerigu police headquarters.
Please, how may I help you?
Thank you for welcoming us in. Please, do you know Jamal?
Yes, that's
our son.
Now, if I may ask, where is he?
He's at the front place.
Did you check whether he's there?
No.
Why?
Because Jamal is a type of person, sometimes he do go out for a number of days and he returns. So I hope he's in the friend's place and then he will come back surely.
Alright. It's unfortunate last night a gang went and robbed the P.C.V.E bank and then one of them got shot. Two girls were able to identify him and said he's called Jamal. What? So I will need you to follow me to the police station and check if that's your son.
Take your time, madam. Take your time. Hey, take your time. Take your time.
Mr. Kudo, please follow me.
Take your time.
Excuse.
Please come in.
Thank you. Good morning, madam.
Good morning, please. Have a seat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Inspector Atie from the Nalerigu police headquarters.
I am Mr. Bernard from the office of the National Commission for Civic Education, Nalerigu.
You are welcome once again. But please, how may I help you?
Thank you for welcoming us in. Couple of weeks ago, a gang went and robbed the P.C.V.E bank and then one of them got shot and it was unfortunate he's one of your students.
I heard of that incident last 2 weeks ago, but we pray that may departed soul rest in perfect peace.
Amen.
In addition to that, Madam Headmistress, we would like you to mobilize all and sundry of your school for us to educate them on an alarming issue in our society, that is violence extremism.
Okay, excuse me then. Madam Sandra. Madam Sandra.
Yes, ma.
Please come in.
Hey, this mistress, you know I have to mark these papers before tomorrow. Here you are there calling me. Let me go and see what she have for me. Excuse ma.
Please come in.
Please, officers, good morning. Ma, good morning.
Good morning.
You called me.
Oh, yes. These officers here want to meet our students, so please kindly gather them for us.
Okay, ma. Bell boy. Bell boy.
Yes, madam.
Please come here.
Please.
Wow. Today your lessons looks nice.
Thank you.
Please, I want you to gather all your colleague students at the assembly ground. We have an emergency assembly. Do it right now.
Okay.
I like your lesson. Be a good boy, okay? Excuse ma.
Yes.
Closing time, please.
Thank you.
Sorry, because I'm tired eating. Emergency assembly, please.
Good morning to you all. I hope you are all doing well.
Yes.
As I can see, you are all neatly dressed. Clap hand for yourselves. As you can see in our premises here, there are some officers who are here to educate us on violent extremism, and I would like them to introduce themselves to you and then tell you the reason why they are here.
I am Inspector Atie from the Nalerigu Police Headquarters.
I am Mr. Bernard from the Office of the National Commission for Civic Education. Just as your headmistress said, we've come this morning to educate you students on violence extremism. Violence extremism are the acts of people where they use violence to achieve political, religious, and other goals. Violence extremism comes with a lot and lots of disadvantages. It creates anxiety among people, it creates fear within them, and also slows down development. It even leads to the point of death, just like the case of Mr. Jamal, who was a former schoolmate to you all. He was influenced by a bad gang. Out of his disobedience and indiscipline, he got convinced and was engaged in a robbery act. During the process of robbing, the police intervened, and unfortunately he was shot dead. So I want you students to take this as a warning and take this very serious, not to engage in any form of violence extremism. This is an election year. Let us say no to any form of violent extremism that comes our way. We are the future leaders of our mother Ghana. Let's not make mother Ghana a bitter place for us all to live. Let us arise as youth and defend our country, for our nation demands our devotion and patriotism.
Okay, and to add to what he has said, I would like to urge all of you to stay away from bad peers and stay away from violent extremists. Let's make Ghana security our priority and then save ourselves from other bad people. Let's proceed to sing this song.
Together we'll sing the youth anthem.
Arise, Ghana youth, for your country.
Ready, go.
Arise, Ghana youth, for your country. The nation demands your devotion. Let us all unite to uphold her and make and great and strong. We are all involved. We are all involved. We are all involved in building our mother's land. Arise, arise, Ghana youth, for your country. The nation demands your devotion. Let us all unite to uphold her and make her great and strong.
Thank you. Oh, please, let's appreciate the drama team. Well done. So beautiful. I was just looking at some of the service commanders, especially the Ghana Police Service and the ambulance service. Just wondering if they acted according to how they did well. Excellently. Clap for yourselves. Okay, so we are now moving towards the second part of the program, a very important part for this morning's gathering, a national dialogue where we have discussants who are going to deliberate on our theme for today. I will just take us through the theme, which says promoting a culture of tolerance, a catalyst for peaceful elections. Promoting a culture of tolerance, a catalyst for peaceful elections. there's a special person who's supposed to moderate. So I would like to invite the moderator for the second part of the event. He's a broadcast journalist, and I'm happy to meet a colleague broadcast journalist. He's a person of Mr. Mark Kwesi Ahuma Smith. He's with A1 Radio and a certified digital marketer. Oh, hello, sir. At least smile towards me. So at this point, I will hand over the microphone to him, and he will introduce the discussants for today. You're welcome.
Let me say a good morning to you, all of us here, and to say that for taking the time to join us here, we are very grateful. And I think that my favorite part of the entire sketch that was here was it they enter my head. Hopefully all the discussions that we are going to have here, it go enter one ahead. And then we can live by the knowledge that will be shared by all the discussants later. Now, the sub-region has been very busy, for a little good, for the bad, and for the ugly. For some of the countries that we have in the sub-region, democratically elected leaders have been ousted. For some countries as well, there have been several attempts to oust democratically elected leaders. And for all of these things that continue to happen within the sub-region, the youth are at the forefront. I say the good because very recently in Senegal, a young man was elected president, so that's good. But then we have the bad, we have the ugly as well. For all of these things, you have young people, being the center of all of these things. And so for us, this conversation is very important, particularly being that we have an election ahead of us. I'm sure that we may have all followed the two recent major processes that began. So you had the limited voter registration exercise. You also had the transfer of votes. And we have seen little bits of unwanted actions that have characterized these two major events. If we are not to see or have those repetitions in the major election, then it means that we would have to do more for ourselves, and that's why this conversation for us is important. Now, this is the fifth in the series. There's been 4 so far. There's been some in the Upper East region, in the Upper West region, and also in the Northern region. And as the MC said, this conversation is going to be primarily focused on promoting a culture of tolerance, a catalyst for peaceful elections amidst threats of violent extremism. Now, we have some of the best minds in the country here with us today to help us discuss this issue. Now, I'll call up here with me Dr. Henrietta Asante Sapong. Let's give her a round of applause as she approaches. Now, Dr. Asante Sapong is an experienced research scientist and program management professional with over 10 years of expertise in research, design, execution, program design, and implementation. Now, her primary research areas include the impact of social protection initiatives, accountable governance, and health systems. Dr. Asante Sapong holds a doctorate in development studies from the University of Ghana, 2 master's degrees in development studies and population studies from the Norwegian University of Science and Technology and the University of Ghana, respectively. Now, prior to her current role as the Director of Research, Gender and Equality at the National Commission for Civic Education, she served as Research Manager for the Alliance for Productive Health Rights, Women's, Children's, and Adolescents' Health Advocacy Group. Now, she, Dr. Asante Sapong, is also a passionate gender advocate with a special interest in inclusion. I'd like that we give her another round of applause. Thank you for joining us upstage. We would also invite upstage Dr. Reverend Father Clement Ampengo. He is the team leader at Kojinta. Doc, if you can join us. A round of applause as he approaches. Now, Father is a motivated and accomplished trainer with broad experience in developing conflict-sensitive programs and providing direct training for traditional leaders, for community leaders and groups, also politicians, government officials, and non-governmental organization program officers and administrative staff. He is skilled in preparing and delivering training in active nonviolence, mediation, conflict analysis, and resolution. He is also experienced in developing monitoring and evaluation tools for assessing the effectiveness of the programs that he runs. He is exceptional He has exceptional skills in public speaking, strategic planning, analysis, crisis and project management, and media relations. He's also very proficient in Italian and has a reading knowledge of French. Monsieur, bienvenue, comment ça va? That's all the French I know, by the way. We would also invite to join us up here Mr. Ibrahim Bismarck Seidu. He's the National Security Officer for the Savannah region. A round of applause for him as he approaches, please. So he has, Mr. Ibrahim Bismarck Seidu has, a certificate in Security and Justice Administration. He has also a professional executive certificate in ADR and peace building. He has an executive master's in ADR from Canada. He also has a certificate in human resource management. So all his life he's been going through how to manage people. Now he also has the security bit as well. A round of applause for him as well. Can I kindly ask that they are mic'd up? Yeah, so that. But while this process begins or goes on, let me just kindly remind all of us that, as was said before, this entire conversation is live on NCCE's digital platform. So all platforms, kindly share so that for those who may not have had the opportunity to be with us here, they would also get to listen to what conversations go on here. This conversation is not just for those of us in this room. It's supposed to transcend those of us in this room. Now, with the benefit of technology, we can do that easily, so that it doesn't have to be we saying what has been said already here, but it's just about sharing the link so that, so that others as well can get to listen to exactly what we are saying here. So I'll first go around and take some opening. Right. It's also live on Tizar FM, so we can also tell our colleagues who may not be using the internet now, but they can listen to it live on radio as well. So we'll take opening comments from each of our discussants, and then we can begin to look at some very specific issues based on all of the knowledge and the experiences that will be drawn from each of their individual capacities. Father, I'll start with you, and we kindly ask for your opening comments or remarks as we begin the conversation.
Thank you very much. Is it working? Can you hear me? Yeah. Oh, okay. So thank you very much for this opportunity. This is my third dialogue session, and I'm always amazed at how I am impressed by the young people who come up. And when I saw the skit this morning, you can see the incredible creativity and capacity we have in our youth if we tap them. Now, the second point I would like to make, growing up in the secondary school in the 80s, in Nalerigu Secondary School, you will have students from all over Ghana. So by the time you are graduating, you have mates all over the place. I think that Ghana is known for its tolerance. For a very long time, in a family, the man is a Muslim, the wife is a Catholic, the 4 children belong to 4 different religions, and then they eat together in the house. What has happened to us? What has happened to us? We have to go back to this. In our house, this is how we do politics. We have MPP, NDC, and GUM. So we have very good TZ, a lot of meat, and while we are eating and drinking, we are now discussing politics. This is how politics should be. Anything short of that is not good for us. Why am I saying this? We are in the era of violent extremism. Let me say that each one of us sitting in this room is violent. Each one of us sitting in this room is an extremist. It depends on the situation. But Ghana is the only country that we have. If we think that we are peaceful, 2018, Burkina Faso was a very peaceful country. 2023, they are #1 in the world. Therefore, I find this team promoting a culture of tolerance. Tolerance, tolerance, tolerance. Just imagine how God is tolerant with us. So the next time somebody says to you, do you know who I am? Just tell the fellow, I beg you, I don't know who you are, but go in peace. I think that this I would start with, and then as we go on, I'll delve more into.
Right. Thank you very much, Father. Dr. Santisapo.
Good morning to everybody, and thank you for the opportunity. As a researcher and leading research work in the NCC, and for one of our 2 studies on violent extremism, asking people questions about tolerance and their willingness to tolerate one another along a number of lines, and finding close to 90% ready to live in peace with each other. I wonder why, as a country, when it comes to elections and our political space, we don't want to live by this tenet. So I look forward to this discussion and unearthing what we can do to ensure that our elections and our country, we consider the need to live in peace and live with one another in a very cohesive way to ensure that we are able to safeguard our democracy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause, please. Right, Mr. Seidu, your opening thoughts as well.
Thank you very much for having me here. I would like to acknowledge once again the regional minister, who is a younger brother of my regional minister, my colleagues, the security agencies, and friends that I've known and I still know in this region. Indeed, it's a pleasure to be here on this topic. I've handled a few of them in Savannah region, and this is one of those. The issue of tolerance, I would say, is a traditional upbringing in our society, that our parents have always urged us to be very patient when we have issues with our bigger brothers, sisters, and other members of the community. So tolerance, for me, is something that we have learned and we should continue to learn. Now, gone are the days we had courtesy for boys and girls taught in schools and civic education taught in schools. Those things are dying off, and I think it's one of those reasons that we have and are experiencing violence in our communities. So tolerance, let's consider it as a traditional matter and urge everybody to be very tolerant. As we proceed, I have a few to add on. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Santisapo, I'll start with you. Now, for all of the research that you've done, I mean, before NCC and while with the NCC, what would you say are the insights that you've gained, the root causes for societal tension, marginalization, and an individual or a group's susceptibility to extremist ideologies?
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed, in both studies conducted by the NCC, in particular, the issue of triggers of violent extremism were identified. I will mention a few of them. I think socioeconomic marginalization is one that our study and a number of studies have also pointed to that fact. We have mentioned youth this morning. And the devil finds work for the idle hands. We know unemployment, particularly among the youth, is very ripe in our country. And people are ready to accept and join extremist activities when an opportunity presents itself. Indeed, in our last study, or a baseline study on this particular project, we identified 11 Ghanaians who are ready to encourage their family members to join extremist groups, if they are also ready to do that. One might say that 11 is a small number, but you can imagine what even one extremist can do to a nation. So unemployment and then marginalization within communities is one of the key factors that fosters violent extremism. Again, misinformation is coming up, and we also see it as one factor that would lead somebody to also join extremist activities. You hear of an issue which is not right, you forward it, and then it will lead to, giving information to these tags and these groups, and you could be paid so much for it, and so you'll be ready to do that. Poverty is endemic in our country, and everybody wants to have something to eat, take care of him or herself. So generally across our populations, poverty is key and people are ready to do anything to be able to take care of themselves. I think the issue of also, colonial divisions in our boundaries, where we have certain ideologies in terms of our politics, that okay, this tradition or these groups should be better considered when it comes to presidential or parliamentary candidates. It has been a colonial thing and we still live by that. So I align myself to this ethnic group or this religious group, and I would want to do that to ensure that one party comes into power or the other. That can also foster issues of extremism, especially when it comes to looking for funding, and it also leads to parties being disenfranchised or discriminated against, and it can lead to extremist activities in our country.
Doc, again, while conducting this work, have you found that maybe this susceptibility is further disaggregated? So gender, maybe location, things like that.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, Doc, you can continue. Father will come in.
Yes. Certainly. I think data shows that there is unequal distribution of resources across our country. We are working towards it. And so for places where you have people marginalized economically, there's a probability. I don't want to mention areas because you will lead to tagging one area or the other. But certainly where there are disparities in access to resources, one is more exposed to extremist activities.
Right. Father, you wanted to make a contribution to this as well.
Yes. I would just like to add to what Doc has said with just 4 brief points. The first is identity. In this room, if I'll give this section red t-shirts and give this section yellow t-shirts and announce that my purse is missing, the red t-shirt people will say is the yellow who has stolen it, and the yellow will say is the red who has stolen it. Identity is how you define yourself. Once you define yourself, all the members of your group are good and all the members of the other group are bad. Now, in addition to the identity is a certain sense of inferiority or a sense of superiority. So if I feel that I'm better than you, I'm superior to you, or if I feel inferior, then I feel that even if I deny you access to certain basic rights, I am doing the right thing. So one of the key problems we are facing is the issue of identity. And it's sad that in the northern region, for students in particular, we have moved from a Northern Students Union to Regional Students Union to Tribal Students Union, and now you go into a village and you have Family Students Union. When you continue to divide identity, there is no end to it. It can only divide you. Added to this identity is greed. Greed is also a contributing factor. Then injustice. When people perceive an injustice, especially when they feel that nobody is listening to them and there is no other alternative, then they're going to choose violence. And then, of course, poverty. So these are some of the underlying causes of the violent extremism. And what happens is that people then take advantage of these grievances. You know what? Let me support you, let me arm you, and we'll change the situation. Burkina Faso and other places have proved that your helpers will turn out to be your oppressors. So we need to be careful.
Doc, I'll come back to you. Now, would you say that these issues have become of growing concern? If so, what have been the contributory factors?
What has been the contributing factors for us is, number one, we have suddenly realized the threat from Burkina Faso. So there's this external threat that we are focusing on. And I always tell people that our security is well equipped. The Ghana Army can deploy, or the security agencies, within 48 hours anywhere. So to some extent, we can be a little bit at rest with that. The other problem is domestic extremism. The things that I have mentioned, the various, the regional minister made beautiful list of the things. chieftaincy conflicts, land conflicts, ethnicity, elections. When people become so aggrieved and they just feel that they cannot change their situation, they are very open. Now the danger is, and why it's urgent for us, is that there are people already in our midst who are willing to finance us, who are willing to arm us, and who are willing to support us. So for me, anytime I hear, let's attack the security services, I say, Massa, investigate this matter. Because they are the first point of contact with government. And the tactics of the violent extremists is get the people against the authority, either the traditional authority, the state authority. And then you can now mobilize them and use them. But please remember that for all intents and purposes, these are international criminals who are looking for the opportunity to make money. They don't care about your situation. They will use you and they will dump you when the time comes.
Right. So, Dr. Santisapon, the same to you before I come to Mr. Seidu.
I think similar to what Reverend has said, our closest neighbors have experienced extremism. Burkina Faso is mentioned, Mali is mentioned, and then Nigeria, among others. And so, yes, the country is taking measures to address this. But once our closest neighbors continuously get these attacks, we need to be very mindful. And I think the issue that I mentioned earlier is still persistent. People don't have jobs to do. And so the probability that one will join an extremist group is very high.
What?
Yeah.
Mr. Seidu, through your work as a national security officer, what have you found to be the reasons that people become prone to violent extremism?
Thank you. There are a number of them. And there are instances that I've gotten involved in mediation and arbitration just to bring the people together. Now, if I look around this hall, I can right away talk about that kind of segregation and I'll say minority and inferior attitude of we imposing on others. If I'm not wrong, I have not seen the Fulby community here who are also part of our community that probably we should have invited, because the issue of extremism will sometimes would align some people to date. It's a fact we do that. Now, and calling people minority tribe is another factor of bringing about violence in our communities. Because at a certain stage, when they feel suppressed, you want to react. I've had those experiences in certain communities. And the absence of involving them in discussions or involving the community in discussing certain issues that are actually peculiar to their lifestyle has often caused some kind of misunderstanding between community members and the so-called settlers. So these things have happened in various areas of my work, and they have generated some confusion and driving into even chieftaincy and land disputes. So the absence of inclusiveness, the absence of creating awareness of certain things that are bothering the people, having caused some of these confusions and disagreements. To a larger extent, at the chieftaincy level, the community sometimes react because it's like a winner takes all. You know, what is due the community, they do not get this, and it only goes to one side. So as it continues, you will find some youth reacting or revolting against their leaders for not including them, and they don't share certain royalties. They don't use the royalties to develop the communities. So there are a number of these things that I think that inclusiveness in discussion is paramount. Not segregating the people and seeing people as minority or the inferior or on tribal lines have always caused a lot of problems in the community in which I have and I work and do try to resolve them.
Right, thank you. Father, there's been a certain agreement among discussants here that tolerance is key. I'm just curious that through your work in mediation and peace building, what strategies for you have worked when it comes to building tolerance among people? Again, you gave the very good example about identity, where you talk about if you identify group A as this and group B as that, if there's an issue, it becomes group A versus group B with that regard to what individual members in the groups would have done or would not have done. So which strategies for you have worked?
in the line of duty in my work, I've come to realize that we as Africans, we have all the answers. We have been practicing this for a very long time. Just go to the chief's palace. You see a lot of tolerance there. They sit down, they listen to everybody. The best place to see this is in a Damba festival. There's even food for witches. Are you getting it? So everybody, at least in the Gonja traditional area, when they are doing a Damba, every part of the society has a stake, has some teaser to collect. Now, the essence of our tolerance is that we see ourselves as one people. Our African cosmology, our African mentality is that we have the dead, we have the living dead, the living and the yet unborn. And therefore we form one. You see, I always say that any human being you cut the body, blood will come out. There is only one humanity in this world. Each one of us is a unique instantiation. Once we recognize that and you see each other as brothers and sisters, we have no choice but to tolerate. You are not able to tolerate people when you feel that you are right. And sometimes when people speak, you just thank God that they are not God. Because if you are a human being and you can be so right, and sometimes you see people, they are arguing, they don't know what they are talking about at all, and yet the conviction, they are willing to kill. So the first thing about intolerance is that feeling that I am right and the rest of you shut up. Now, if you are a humble person, you come to realize that you don't know it all. And I always say the best medical doctor needs the vulcanizer to fix his tie for him. So appreciating the qualities of each one of us, knowing that we are mortal, we are going to die one day, and that what we need somebody will help us to be tolerant. Number two, the community spirit. In our family, when a visitor comes, the visitor eats first before the house people. This is an African practice. Do we have that communal spirit to say that this is my fellow person, let me tolerate the person? Then a certain sense of humility. A friend of mine told me once that, look, I'll never let anybody make me uncomfortable. So I wanted to try him. He took a wrong turn. We're driving. I said, are you a fool or what? Then he looked at me and said, are you now realizing it? I've been a fool all my life. Then I said to him, you have just made me an idiot. And he was laughing. But can you imagine, he said, am I the one you are calling a fool? How dare you call me a fool? Hey, before you realize, So the recognition that we are one, the recognition that we are limited, the recognition that we are a community, these are things we try to help people to understand that once you have these, you cannot but be tolerant.
Right. While the regional minister was speaking, while the chairperson for the NCC was speaking as well, so they talk about religious intolerance, they talk about political intolerance, they talk about chieftaincy disputes. In your line of duty, again, have you found out that different strategies work for different levels of intolerance? So religious intolerance as against political intolerance, or the same processes may run through?
As far as intolerance is concerned, the same processes run through. People feel that they are right and no other person is right. So there is a problem. But in the line of our work, we say, you are right and you are also right. They turn around and say, but Father, they cannot both be right. Then I say, you are also right. You see, in our African mentality, we are not used to everybody being right. But because once I am right, then you must be wrong. This is the problem. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Elections is about governance. Teachers say they are the best people who can rule Ghana. Okay, let's try them. If they fail us, we'll try the nurses. But you see, if my brother becomes MP today, my life changes. So I'm prepared to kill. The biggest problem we have is that we don't have a business class. We don't have a middle class. Politics and government has become the biggest employer and the biggest source of change in our lives. And so I'm not surprised that we kill just for elections, a competition of ideas. On the issue of land, it's more of ignorance. You see, our great-grandfathers, my father was in Gambaga here in 79, 80. You come to Gambaga, you want to farm, you just walk into the bush and start farming. Nobody cares. But today the population has grown. Land has appreciated. When you look at the land problem, land ownership, land access, we don't have a problem with that. In our traditional setting, if you want to know the owner of the land, you will know the owner. Is it not true? You will know the owner. Access to land, the land is there. The problem is secure user rights. That when I'm developing this land, tomorrow you don't come and take it away from me because your son has come back from Kumasi. Then the second is benefit sharing. And you see, we have started a program of working with the chiefs. The new land act that has come, a lot of chiefs will end up in prison. In Bole, 2 of them already were locked up for 2 weeks. You see, if you are taking care of family land, every year you are supposed to account for the resources of the family land. It's the law. It has become the law. So we need to hurry up and educate our chiefs and those who are managing lands on the law. So many people are ignorant of it, and therefore we continue to fight. And it's also because land is identity, as in my fatherland, my motherland. But today, the value in the land is what you can make of it.
Right. Great. Dr. Asante Sapong, when we talk about political tolerance, where do we begin to have this discussion from? But again, what strategies do we need to begin to employ based on what you have found in the work you have done?
Thank you. Within the political space, we have, let me call it the demand and supply side. Our leaders in politics, and then we, the citizenry. I think at different levels, we have groups from the local to the national. So among citizens, we need to begin with education on understanding the dynamics within the political space, and then particularly on legislation at that level, so that at the local level, anybody engaging in any political activity knows the laws, and then where there are punishments, they get to know that this will be the punitive action that will come to you. At the bigger level, where people are standing for positions, again, the issue of law is critical. We have the Vigilantism and Related Offences Act presently in place, and a number of policies that guides our political system and space. They need to know about that. And more importantly, how to also respect the dynamics across the different political divides, so that we ensure that we all live in peace and harmony. The people look up to the political leaders, and so if they are also going against the rules, they will equally go against the rules. So for both our leaders and the citizenry, we need to harm and then press on the need for all to understand the dynamics. They need to appreciate each other, and just to understand that it is just a process to have our political leaders in place to ensure that there is harmony in our country.
Like you say, the many people who follow politics look at their leaders and do as their leaders say or do as their leaders do. In cases where you have leaders of political parties begin to make insightful comments or begin to make very aggressive or take very aggressive positions, how are we expected to deal with this? Both at the leadership level, but then at the ordinary citizens level as well.
Okay. I think the NCC, for example, we are at the forefront of getting the citizenry to know about their rights and responsibilities. And we also name and sometimes shame those who come up and then, incite violence among others. We may not do it in the open, but we are among the institutions, civil society does same. We hear a lot of talk on our media airwaves, shaming some of these acts. But more importantly, I think the enforcement of laws is what is needed. Although, as a country, I haven't witnessed much when it comes to that. And that is one area that we should really be looking at when it comes to ensuring that we are able to nip this in the bud. Because the talk is good, the education is good. But where we see enforcement and people being punished, I think it will serve as deterrent for all of us to to live by the rules and ensure that we have peace within our political space.
Right. Mr. Seidu, for all of in your earlier statement, you were talking about some cases you have identified and you have dealt with as an institution. What strategies have helped while building tolerance with these identified cases in all of these communities you have worked in?
Thank you very much. I just want to add something to Madam before I come to my main question. You see, we have in various communities the upsurge of youth groups. And even the titles they give their groups alone tells us that they are aiming at something that is violent. For instance, in a community where there's a youth group that might call themselves Fire for Fire, the Attire Group, and our groups and names that you can find that they are inciting, means that these are things that can escalate certain matters within the communities. Now, Father, you are aware that in Solar we have a youth group called Fire for Fire, Attire Group. Now, these are splinter groups that our politicians will use to beef up some kind of actions that will support the politicians. Eventually, the politicians, excuse me to say, or other business people would use them, fund their groups, and they will end up being, the quote in quotes, vigilante groups. So we've tried, and some of these things have been subdued. Now, you want to know how I've gone about this. And indeed, apart from seeing them, certain actions, and trying to prevent them or preempt my office, on my own, I will try to mediate, because it's good to prevent these things than to allow them to escalate before, take action. And areas that you think that there are two factions or factions that are fighting for something, like Father said, it is important to go into them, listen to them carefully, and see how you can also find authorities to get involved. In a conflict situation, no one is right and everybody is a loser. So I attempt to see how I can get some loose ends and bring them together to solve some of the problems.
I read somewhere that they say that a good negotiation is when all parties leave the table a little unhappy, because is that something that's real in the work that you do, or that's just a quote I've read somewhere?
Oh, naturally, they will leave not completely happy, but because they have to make sacrifices and compromises, they will leave, and then a follow-up should be done to concretize the decision that has been taken.
Right. Father, as we talk about building political tolerance, for you as a mediator, who are the identified groups that can play roles in building this tolerance? But again, what roles should these identified stakeholders play?
In terms of political tolerance, it's also good to identify why we have political intolerance. The problem is politics has become a business. So when you miss out and this winner takes it all, then it means that if they go for 8 years, you are in trouble if you have not prepared properly. And therefore, people will do everything to be able to get in there. Now, in terms of the people, if you ask me to prioritize, I will start with the chiefs. The chiefs have enormous power over politicians that they do not realize. Because in the structure, social structure of systems, the religious is the religious experience, God. Next is culture. And who is holding the culture? The chiefs. So technically, it is the chieftaincy institution that should determine how education should be done, business should be done, and politics should be done. That is the way it goes. But because of poverty and because of our colonial history, the politicians put themselves above the chief. So if a chief says, listen, I will not tolerate any intemperate language in my jurisdiction. Because when the politicians come, they come to greet you. What message do you give them? And by the way, my boys will be outside there. If we hear anything, you will hear from me. They are number one. I think religious leaders, I think we have seen a spree of religious leaders praying over politicians. Election time, every politician will greet you. After election, you can't touch them. So that's an opportunity for us. We need to work with the party chairpersons. Listen, if you're a party chairman you want your party to come so that you develop Ghana. So if through your party chairmanship there is bloodshed, then your chairmanship is useless. Then the youth, the major part. You see, and the trick I play on young people is, why should you sit under a tree and somebody will come and give you 5 cedis? You don't respect yourself or what? Are you getting it? Because then you continue the generational transfer of poverty. Challenge the one giving you the 5 cedis to keep the 5 cedis in his or her pocket and better your situation for you. You get it? So you will see a 60-year-old man on the streets shouting or holding a gun. So the youth are another. But you see, and that's what I appreciate what NCCE is doing. Engagement, engagement, engagement. But when you engage people, they get to understand. And in the last 20 years of my work, I see that when you engage people, their common humanity rises. So the entire level of society, people have to understand. But for me, the underlying cause is that when your party, your family member, or your acquaintance gets political power, your life can change dramatically. So what do we do to minimize that? So that it doesn't make a difference whether you are MP or not. Life is the same for everybody.
Right, Doc, Father, I just want to build on your last point. So when the chairperson for NCC was speaking, she says that politics has now become a buy and sell situation.
Yes.
There are buyers and there are sellers. For the young people who, again, we have admitted that young people do not have jobs, the economic situation is it's a difficult one for young people. How then do they navigate not being bought or not selling themselves?
First of all, we should encourage young people to go into politics and to diversify in their politicking and to also understand the dynamics of politics. You see, it is only in Ghana that when your party wins, let me give this example. When Ambrose Derry became Interior Minister, butchers from Nandom organized and went to him to get them job in national security. Are you getting it? I don't have a problem with butchers, but national security is not about cutting meat. You get it? In any political structure, you have the political funders. You have the strategists. Normally, the people you appoint as ministers, they don't appear in public. But Ghana, immediately you win. We have been fighting all these years. Now it's our turn. So you put somebody in a position, I don't want to say DCE, our minister is not here. You put somebody as regional minister or in a political position, and the fellow cannot perform. My brother campaigned for somebody, he won as an MP. So I said, Massa, so this guy you have campaigned for, what is he going to do in parliament? He said, you see, that's the problem. But you know why? Somebody annoyed him. So he left his constituency, went to another constituency, using Machiavellian tactics, and got the guy. The guy went to parliament. He never opened his mouth all the 4 years. Are you getting it? So we must understand. Many years ago in I met political operatives. I said, is there anyone in the room who can tell me their political philosophy? After silence, one man got up and said, Father, all our politics is stomach politics. How many of the NPP people know the political philosophy of NPP? How many of the NDC members who are shouting and ready to beat and kill know the political philosophy? You see, veranda boys are not for political appointments. Yours is go and make noise. Then the big men will come and calm you down. You want to mobilize. So there are roles in the organization of politics. The problem in Ghana is that we don't learn things properly. We mix everything up and everything goes. So one of the problems is that we have not maintained the structure. And political funders are like prostitutes. You get it? Yeah. So at the moment, there are people who are putting money in NPP and putting money in NDC. The monies they are coming and distributing to you, there are people who are giving them that money. When they win power, they will collect that money back and you will still be the poorer. So this is an opportunity for you. Stop collecting the packages. Stop collecting the envelopes. Push them now to build dams and put in place systems for you. Because when they win, you won't have their voice again. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Dr. Asante Sapong. again, for you, who are the identified stakeholders and what roles can they play? And again, as a gender advocate, I'd be curious what specific roles you would think that women can play, young people, girls, boys, can also play in this role.
Thank you. So certainly the political structure, right from the unit committee to the national level, everybody at the forefront of this should be a target to us. And so we have to do this right from the very down level up to the top. They all have to be engaged on this. In fact, when you ask further the question I put here, women's groups and our mothers, remembering a question I asked when we had our study on violent extremism and the role that women are playing. I know this is on elections, but you know that women, we command a lot of respect. We are able to convince and get everybody on board. Our men, our children, be it male or female. And so women have such a very crucial role to play. And so for the NCC, a lot of our engagements are targeted. And women's groups and women's associations are one group that we always do not leave out. And people also who are within the underserved groups. The young people, we have talked about the young people, both in school and out of school. And then, I mean, those who are also in different artisanal activities. The younger ones should be able to understand and appreciate the need for them to be looking out for development that is more comprehensive for everybody and not looking just at some money you'll be given as a one-off thing. It doesn't help. Because if you take some money and your roads, your schools, health facilities are not there for you, there is no development. So yes, young people should be educated, should be a target for our education. We have to start from that level. They are even better when it comes to, education. So younger ones should be adequately targeted. Women, in particular women's groups within churches and other religious bodies should also be targeted, and then there should be continuous education on the need for them to look at the positive side of politics and not just be looking at violence and issues related to having money, which is more of a one-off thing.
Right. Thank you very much. Mr. Sedu, in your line of work, which organizations, agencies are you collaborating with? And what roles are they playing to help you as an outfit or as an organization help maintain a certain level of peace in the areas in which you work?
Thank you. In Savannah region, we have the Peace Council that we collaborate with, especially with RECSEC and the chiefs, that we've been able to go to some of the communities that we find to have some challenges with the youth activities. In Bole, we have done some. In Daboya, North Gonja, we have done some. Then in Sola, we've done some. Unfortunately, even in Sola, because of such misbehaviors, they had to even find ways of hiding because some groups found the Peace Council not in their favor because they were educating them to do the positives. I just want to add to Father's contribution on how to diffuse this kind of vote buying. You see, it's a woven in the sense that the youth feels what is the alternative livelihood, and that is one of the areas that they think they can also exploit the politician, or they feel that when they have supported the politician to go, he does not take care of them again. So it's an option that they need to take from the politician. However, I would also want to plead that NCC has a lot to do on that aspect, because if we begin to educate the people that do not look at how much money or the number of T-shirts that are being given during the campaign, but look at the track record of the person coming to stand elections and see whether his performance in your community is worth it, and that if you give him the opportunity, he can represent you well and do the good things. But if it's just about the money, yes, it's an investment that he has done, so he want to recoup his money when he wins the election, and that's where we find politicians not performing. We are also a factor to their quote-unquote non-performance.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Father, I'll come back to you. Now, there are some places that already exist in the country where there are issues around land disputes. There are chieftaincy issues. And in these places, we have also found that political parties seem to ride on these already existing differences to push their political agenda. How do we begin to deal with those situations?
First of all, a lot of the political parties do not know that the Political Parties Act prohibits using chieftaincy or ethnicity in your politicking. So it's already against the law to do it. But how many know that? So the problem we're having in Ghana, I think somebody mentioned, is enforcement. If we really want to enforce the laws in this country, we will have one of the most peaceful and the best countries you can find in this world. You know, when you see some of the acts of the youth, they just fall foul of the Counter-Terrorism Act, Anti-Vigilantism Act. You know, so the Political Party Act, if you read it, clearly states that political parties should not use chieftaincy or ethnicity in their campaigning. And that is why before you get the certificate, you have to come across as national. Because when you see the history of Ghana, how many of us are aware that MPP was Northern People's Party? K.A. Buzia became the head of government business because apart from the fact that the Northern People's Party won 13 seats and Buzia won only 1 seat, he was the only, I mean, he was very well educated. Dombo was a ZA teacher. So we had these regional parties, the NLM, the Ashanti Party, then you even had the Muslim Party, and then the Volta. But then we decided that we're going to have national parties. So Ghana has gone through a period where we had regional or religious-based parties. And so that's the history behind that. And we're saying that any political party that will be registered in Ghana must have a national character. So number one, the thing is this: politicians are looking for votes. They will go where they will get the votes. They will make promises knowing very well that they cannot fulfill the promises. I'm happy to say that some of the promises have come back to bite some of them in a very bad way. The unfortunate thing is that the whole Ghana suffered for it in terms of conflict. So politicians will always try to profit of divisions to create that us versus them to get support for themselves. So that is why we are saying that we are in our program, we are working with the chiefs, and that's a program NCCE, Kojinta, and FIAP with funding from the EU is carrying out. You know, we have done education on the Chieftaincy Act. We have even translated the Chieftaincy Act, the abridged version, into 8 different languages. Mampuli is one of them. You get it? So at least the chiefs can understand. Alternative dispute resolution. Any chief who follows the process of arbitration and documents it, whatever conclusion he comes to agreement will be held in court, upheld in court. Then mediation. So we also need to be able to build the capacity of the chiefs. They mentioned succession. Important. Gone are those days where they were chasing after people to make them chiefs. Today, civil servants who have not prepared for their retirement are coming home for chieftaincy as their retirement package. Abba. Are you getting it? So we need, sorry for those retired civil servants who are chiefs, but we need this education. Then again, land. You see, we are agri-based. Land is the resource that we have. And we are blessed with it. When we came here to do the mediation, we came with Mr. Nete. As we were driving, he sat for some time and he said, "Father, can you explain to me why you people in the north are fighting over land? But going to Wale Wale, you drive for minutes and you won't see anybody around. In Amsterdam, you have over 1,500 per square kilometer. In Nalerigu here, we are not even up to 3 people per square kilometer. And we are fighting over land. So we need to do something. So we need education, we need awareness creation, and we need to reorganize ourselves. And that is why we are putting a lot of work, you know, working with the chiefs. At the moment, we are going to support a number of customary land secretariats. So for me, instead of just looking at the root cause of the problem. What is it that make it possible for politicians to take advantage of a chieftaincy crisis and deal with it? Then the issue of the politician is no longer there.
When the Northeast Regional Minister was speaking, so he gave an example of the rising use of tramadol.
Yes.
The fact that if you arrest people, they begin to read political meanings into it and some other means into it, so you cannot even deal with perpetrators. Let's squarely focus that on the political arena. You say that we have laws, but we are unable to enforce them. How do we enforce these laws in a country where everything is either this party or that party?
Okay, so tramadol use is addiction. Okay? And you don't solve the problem of addiction with enforcement. Anybody who is using tramadol is a sick person. The danger we don't realize is that one day your son will put a knife on your throat to collect all your money to go and buy the tramadol, because a time is going to come when they don't take it, they cannot stabilize. The other day I saw some pictures, it was just bad. Young people, there's something even now they call kush, and then when you take it, the pictures I saw, you just see the guys like this. You know, he's not sitting, he's not standing, he's not falling, he has no clue where he is. What kind of enjoyment is this? But you see, let's tackle it at the root. You know, the tramadol is not just the 50 mils. You have the 250 mils. That's the one that's creating the problem. You know how it's coming into the country here? It's passed through prostitutes. We found out among the Fulbe, they come and they get the service of the prostitute, then they now collect the tramadol from the girls. They go and sell, bring the money back and get the commission. When we're training the Fulbe chiefs, this thing came out. You get it? And many more of our young people, it's not just tramadol. You take tramadol, then you take energy drink, then you add coffee, then you add codeine, and you mix it and drink. You know, your kidney will just start squeezing like this when the thing is coming in. And you see, again, it's ignorance. So you sit down the whole day, you have not eaten, the future looks bleak, and you think that being high will help you. So on the tramadol issue, we need a different strategy. Enforcement cannot work. But again, politicizing it is the name of the game.
So I was asking about just using the tramadol as an example, but really, so for example, political parties taking advantage of existing conflicts to push their agenda. If even for issues around drug usage is politicized and enforcement again is politicized, how then do we now enforce rules that already exist? So if no political party is supposed to take advantage of an existing conflict, but they do, how do we punish those political parties without necessarily again going further down into the issue of extreme politicization, where every action that's taken by the state is seen as taken by a certain government against a certain people because we are different when it comes to political orientation?
You know, the problem is even worse than you are presenting it. We in the room here, we are the problem. Okay, what does your mama care about somebody taking tramadol in Nalerigu here? But somebody has gone to report to the party chairman that my son has been arrested. The party chairman has called somebody, has called somebody. It's not just only tramadol. Look, the Ghana police and the Ghana security are one of the best when they are outside on international peacekeeping. I've seen it. So why are they not performing here? You have asked me to negotiate for your son, who is an armed robber, to join the Ghana police. What authority do you have? What moral right do you have to complain about the corruption of the police? The police are very professional. If they are allowed to work, we have no problem. But in Nalerigu here, they were trying to implement this helmet thing. And you know, all the security services, they have Siberia. Do you know Siberia? Madam, you know Siberia. Siberia is this place in Russia. Nothing goes there. It's cold. So when they want to punish you, that's where they'll send you. So if I'm a police commander here, I've not completed my house, the next 10 years, 5 years, I'll be going on retirement. Am I going to rock the boat? No. So the point I'm making is that it is we who are sitting here who call on the politicians when we break law or we fall foul of the law to intervene. So the politicians are intervening not because politicians want to intervene. Politicians are intervening because the people they are asking to vote for them are asking them to intervene. So let's pack the politicians for one and look at ourselves. and begin to ask the question. You get it? When you see actions have consequences. I like the Nalerigu chief. He just called his young people and say, anytime you get a police case, especially if it's a criminal case, let the police settle it. When they imprison you for time and you come out, I'll now call your family and the other family and build peace. You know, you don't shield criminals because you then encourage them to do more. And they do the same thing with the chiefs. They run to the chief's palace. So my children have come to me crying, what do I do? So for me, I will change the question a little bit and turn around and say, how can we help our politicians not to interfere in law enforcement and in doing this? Because at the end of the day, it will come back and bite us.
Right. Thank you very much. Dr. Asante-Savo, I'm going to ask you the same question as well. So in the way that was framed by Father, what roles are we expected to play now beyond what roles NCC is playing, Kojinta is playing, the national security, but as us as individuals seated here, what roles can we play so that we are tolerant of each other's political views and we can have a peaceful election?
I think we all find ourselves within different circles at every point in time. We are all coming from families, nuclear or extended. We are all part of one association or the other. In the mosque. We have other social groups that we are members of. So even if those of us here decide or choose to send out this information to at least 5 people within our jurisdictions, I'm sure it's going to call for a lot of change. So it is our duty as citizens. And in line with our theme for 2024, I'll go back to it. Together, we have to do this. And so it behoves on us to take that bold decision that we will be agents of peace. We will let others know the need to do the right thing at all times and ensure that wherever we find ourselves within the family and other circles, we at least put in a word for people to live right. So we owe it a duty to do so.
Talking about sharing information, the chairperson for the NCC talked about how we're using technology to, misinform, disinform, and even spread fake news. Now, obviously, that affects, because some of these comments or these posts that are shared offend people so much that it becomes difficult for them to listen to others. What do we need to begin to do so that technology does not become a disadvantage for us as we approach the 2024 election?
I think knowledge is critical. And at different platforms, even here, we are getting to know and understand the need to do fact-checking and not just to be sharing information here and there. So we learn, and then when we go for different, we are within different fora, whatever we pick up which is positive, we also ensure that we go according to it. And it also behoves on us to independently learn, because technology has come to stay, and at every point in time there is one new thing or the other. So aside the fact that you are within a meeting or we are within a workshop setting and you learn 1 or 2 things on your own, like we do with computer and any other thing that we learn on a day-to-day basis, we learn and understand and know how best to know that this information is right or wrong, and not to just spend too much time just forwarding information here and there. We have a lot of other positive things to share or even talk about. So why are we so much in a hurry to forward an information that we are not too sure of? We would then be inciting violence and then causing commotion here and there. So we need to desist from such practices.
Right, thank you. Mr. Seidu, so 2-part question. There's supposed to exist a relationship between us ordinary citizens and the security agencies. There's supposed to also exist a relationship between security organizations themselves within the country. So what strategies are we employing so that as security agencies we can engage very well with the ordinary Ghanaian so that we're able to build tolerance, but again, between or among the security setups within the country as well?
Thank you. I think society should view security as their friends. And indeed, our Ghanaian security play a role to demonstrate that they are part of the community and they are friends of society. Now, in some communities, they even fear to go to the police report issues. And that isn't the case, and that should not be the case. I think that communities and society should feel free when they have problems and freely walk up to the police and then complain or lay complaints and do reports of other incidents that are happening. Now, we just witnessed the student demonstration of if you see something, say something. Now, the police are prepared to listen to the community when they come complaining about certain things that they think that it can breach the peace of the community or society or Ghana, and they are ready to receive it. However, one thing that also cautions community in reporting is that they feel their identity would be given out and they can be run after. But I believe that our security agencies are so professional that once you go to report anything that you think it is going to cause a breach of peace in your community, they are professional and will keep the information and then trace to find out. Now, among security agencies, the golden word there is collaboration. The security agencies should see themselves as one body working in the interest of the nation. And the security strategy would say that it's one nation, one society. We're working for the people, we're working for the government. And so NIB definitely would not want to hold information that he thinks that is good for the police to hear. Even though we may have the need to know basis, it is important that collaboration among security agencies will do us a lot of good if we're able to share information and then do the needful.
Right, thank you. We'll be having this conversation for 55 minutes. So, Father, I'll take closing comments for now. Then we have the open forum, and then we can finalize properly. So, Father, in closing, I'm just curious. These sessions, these forums, have happened from last year, and they continue to happen. The themes continue to change to fit the times that we are in. Beyond this particular forum, what other activities do you expect to happen as we approach the 2024 election?
There are a number of activities going on. You know, as I mentioned to you, I'm in a program together with NCCE, but there are other CSOs and other donor agencies that are working, and there's a lot of funding that is already coming in, specifically targeted at the elections. So there will be quite a number of activities being rolled out, you know. But generally, in terms of working together, tolerance, building capacity and resilience, Kojinta is one of them. USAID is working on that, and so there are a lot of different activities that are going on. In terms of closing remarks, I would say I'm very happy to see this kind of engagement, because NCC is just a small body, even though it's a national body. You who are here present need to hear this. You are the ones who will take the message to heart and bring it, because if there will be peace, it will come from you. It won't come from the security services, because the approach of the terrorists is that they will come into the village and terrorize you. By the time the security services are getting there, the damage has been done already. So I think that this is a great opportunity, a great approach, and I just hope that it will be possible for NCCE to continue to do this even beyond the elections on a more regular basis.
Right, Dr. Asante Sapon, the same. If you can also use the opportunity to kindly remind us of activities that the NCC itself will be running and how we can all participate in those as well.
Okay, thank you very much. I think from today's discussions, I've heard a lot about the role of different actors. The NCC, we have what we call the inter-party dialogue committees, which we have just begun engaging. This is a body made up of reps from different sectors, political parties, religious groups, traditional authority, among others. But listening to ourselves, I see a lot with respect to doing more of interfaith discussions and inter-ethnic discussions. NCC has not set out to do that yet, but I think it's one that we should be looking at. We, apart from the IPDC's meetings, we are going out to engage youth. We have done that in the past. We do a lot of in-school and out-of-school engagements. We have a flagship study that we are about to conduct, matters of concern to the Ghanaian voter, which basically solicits for the electorate's views on what they expect of their political leaders. We are going to use that to engage different segments of the population, but particularly with our parliamentarians in parliamentary debates that we do every election year. And I think that platform also provides a lot of opportunity for them to also appreciate the subject that we are looking at today, among others. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Mr. Seidu, I think also you can use the opportunity to remind us of the ongoing See Something, Say Something campaign and how we can all play a collective role to protect the country.
I would like to give all of us a task on the if you see something, say something. I think that security must be the concern of everybody. In the last week in Savannah region, we were able to go around all the 7 districts to campaign on this concept. Let's leave this hall with the word salute. My colleague in Northeast region would know that the word acronym salute means that when you see anything that is of security threat, you need to report to the security agencies. You should report to your chiefs or any opinion leader. But we have the toll-free code, which is a 999. Now the word or the acronym salute means that when you see anything that you suspect, either in the church, school park, in your home, or any gathering, try to identify that object of a specific make. It could be a box. Try to identify it by, if it's a human being, what are the specific features? So the salute has 2 in 1 S. Then the A, what activity was the person engaged in? Then L, location, where was this activity being undertaken? Then the U is the uniform, what attire was this person wearing? You try to identify the person by the uniform. Yes, somebody could cover the whole face, yes, still describe the uniform. Then the T is the time that you saw the activity being undertaken. Then the E is equipment. Was this person wearing any equipment or weapon? Try to have this information. And that's what you use to call on the 999 and give the information. Your identity is not needed. The office have people who are assigned to such calls, and they will contact the agency that's responsible and trace to know. So I would like to leave on this note that tolerance must be our golden word. It should be our upbringing that let's try to tolerate each other irrespective of where it is coming from, be it religion, be it political, be it ethnic or whatever. We all need to build one Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for the discussants. So the floor is open. I'm sure that we may have questions or contributions to this particular discussion. Pardon? Is it? Right. So if we can do maybe 4 questions in one set and then we take the responses, but kindly, if we can make these questions or contributions as short as possible so that we don't spend so much time here. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. My name is Mohammed Isababa with the National Ambulance Service. From the discussion, they've touched a lot of issues that can ensure that we have peace existence. But I've not heard you people talk about state institutions, their role they play. Because, for example, you have an issue going to court, maybe land dispute, and it will take not less than 20 years before it will be determined. I think before it will be determined, a lot of people have lost their lives already. So it's key. And lack of trust in some of the institutions may also bring about violence in our communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So there's a hand there.
Thank you very much for those very thought-provoking and insightful discussions. My name is Hajara, one of the commission members at NCC. And for me, I think that, I don't know whose responsibility this is, but we've allowed politics to go on anyhow in this house. Reverend kept making reference to laws, all the laws. But the way politicians embrace this, Thank you. The way we've allowed politicians to operate aside the law. So, an example, he made reference to the Political Parties Act, which also actually demands political party accountability. Now, the monies they brandish about, who asked them the source of those monies? Are they laundered monies? Those who are financing them, what are the sources of their wealth? But we have this in a law in this country that political parties should account for their sources of funding. We have actually seen politicians spray money. The videos are on the internet and nobody asks questions. The second point when I say we are allowing politics anyhow in the country is the use of vigilante groups. Again, vigilante groups came about because of political parties. They are the ones who make use of organized groups, thugs, if I should add, who call themselves vigilantes, and by extension promote drug use amongst those people. They supply them drugs so that they can act in the way they want them to act when it becomes necessary. So our politicians have been at the forefront of monetizing our politics. We don't do issue-based politics. Instead of promoting issues, they are using money to bulldoze their way around winning elections in this country. And we sit down, we watch it, and it's okay. We gloss over it. They've promoted vigilantism. We went ahead and brought the Vigilantism Act. Then later, what do? They now incorporate them in the security services. Like Reverend said, you then see an armed robber and then you admit him into the security service and later say what? You want to control what? Meanwhile, all these things, we have laws governing them and we are not doing them. So for me, I think that the enforcement that Dr. Asante Sapon mentioned, NCC can do all the education. But when we do the education, and then at the end of the day, it's natural that a few people will break the rules. And then when they are caught, and then we are not able to make enforcement, then we just create a vicious cycle. Then we go round and round and round and come back to the same thing every other election cycle. So for me, I think these are issues we need to watch carefully. Thank you.
Thanks so much for the education. It's true, together it is possible to build Ghana. So let us be involved. I really certain times wonder whether actually there is a day of judgment. I say this because a larger population of Ghana are Christians, Muslims, and a few traditional believers. In the Christian religion, even when Jesus was sending out his disciples, he said that go into any other place, and when you are entering, say peace be unto you. If they return peace, then go in. But if not, shake even the dust out of your feet and leave. Then the Muslims, you have a surah in the Quran, Kuliya ayyuhal kafiruna. In the end of it, they say lakum dinukum waliya dini. If you don't agree, take your religion and I have my religion. Talking of peace. And there's a musician who says that everybody is crying for peace, but I am crying for justice. Where there is justice, definitely there will be peace. So then we spoke about the use of tramadol and other things. To be honest with you, if you find a young man holding a soft drink, dare not take a sip. If you take a sip, you will speak in tongues. You will know that yes, it is not. For this matter, in Gambaga, I know that they have formed a watchdog committee. And the watchdog committee is working effectively, bringing down the use of tramadol. Then we talked of tolerance. With tolerance, I have a scenario. Once fire was burning and the lion was running looking for a place to save itself. Then it went across a river, and the grass there was green. It laid there. Before long, a tiger came running. He also found that place and laid there. Within some few hours, they found a path adder also lying there. Then the tiger said, "Please, as the three of us are living here, let us know our do's and don'ts so that we can live happily. As for me, tiger, I hate somebody shouting at me." Then lion said, "As for me, lion, I hate somebody looking into my face more than once." Then the path adder said that, "As for me, the path adder, if you step on my waist, I will never tolerate it." So they were living together when an ant lion was trying to make a funnel. So this ant lion was tossing out sand from the ground. So the tiger looked into the face of the lion to see whether the lion has also observed what was happening. Lion didn't observe. He looked the second time. Lion, not being tolerant, shouted, "Didn't I say I hate people looking at my face 2 times?" Then he also shouted, "Didn't I say I hate people shouting at me?" Then the two went into wrestling. And when they wrestled, they stepped the waist of the path adder. The path adder beat the lion and beat the tiger, and all of them died. So this is due to lack of tolerance. So I'll attribute the tiger to a Moshiman, then the lion to a Dagomba, and the path adder to a Mampusiman. So in this case, let us be very tolerant to each other so that there will be peace. Lastly, I want to make an appeal. Let us not look at this group as that we are going to cause the trouble on the day of election. That is why you have called to talk to us. We need more education in the villages and the hinterland. And I know NCCE, they have no means of transport to go anywhere. And when we just live here, that is going to be the beginning of the end. So it will look like you have just called us as those who may be causing the trouble to talk to us so that we don't cause trouble. Please, I would like that you provide means of transport to NCCE so that they will help carry the message around to use some of us to talk to the parents.
Right.
Very much.
Thank you. Please, for all subsequent ones, if we can keep one contribution or one question to one person so that we can leave here as quickly as possible. My understanding is that there are many people coming from very far places. So if we can do it very quickly. So please, just one question or one contribution. You can do either, not more than one. Please,
thank
kindly.
you. Thank you for the opportunity. The name is Kampini Batie Binapak, Regional Director of East Region, Community Development. There is a growing trend of perceived perception about certain institutions over the years. And it is like people believe that there are certain institutions, when there is a change of government, those institutions are in bed with them. There are certain activities or processes when some of them carry out, people see as opaque, as not being transparent to others. So I want to find out from Kojinta and other listen, what are they doing to ensure that that kind of misbelief or opaque activities that are being done are done away with, to ensure that everybody will have trust in them so that everything will be transparent.
Right. Thank you very much.
Selective justice. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that's the second question. Yes. So.
Thank you, moderator. I'm Reverend Joseph A. Barney, the head pastor of Assemblies of God. I want to make an appeal to us as a house. It's like God has turned his favor upon the northern sector, that is the 5 northern regions. And when you look at the 2 major parties, you see that they are all national. But thanks be to God, these 2 national parties have chosen our own sons, our own brothers, to lead these parties. And automatically, by the 7th of December 2024, I believe one of these, our brethren, our sons, will be picked as a president to govern the nation. So what I want to appeal to the House is, this meeting is very appropriate. And to our dear chiefs, our departmental leaders, religious leaders, and so on and so forth, we should do our best to make sure we preach peace, we promote peace, because it is said that sometimes it is the northern people that wants to create problems, that want to destabilize peace. But now God says, let me turn to the northerners and push their own sons. And if any of them is picked as the leader, they have to make sure they ensure peace. And so I will appeal that we do our best. We do our best to make sure this opportunity that is given to us as northerners, we don't abuse it. The second thing I want to appeal to the NCC is to just give some 2 Bible quotations, and I know Reverend will know these verses I'm going to quote. When you read Proverbs 23:23 and then John 8:32, these verses are almost the same. They are given the same message. The Proverbs 23:23 says, buy the truth and sell it not. And like our last speaker who spoke and we laugh, there can be no justice, there can be no peace without justice. And so when truth is taking precedence, I know we will enjoy peace. And Jesus also said it 500 years before this message was given in Proverbs 23:23, that ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So if we want Ghana to enjoy peace after 7th December, the truth is what should be taken seriously. And it should be taken to these institutions. The Electoral Commission, whoever is to preside over these elections, it should be taken to them. And they don't take money, but they should rather buy the truth and let the truth prevail. Thank you.
Thank you. So again, this is another contribution. So yes, you can ask yours. We have 2 questions. If we get up to 4, then we can end the...
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. So, but please, just 1 question or 1 contribution.
Yes.
Just
mine is a contribution.
Okay.
I'm speaking from the NDC. I believe that suspicion is what leads to mistrust. And when I don't trust a system, I will never understand what they do. I'm relating this to the EC and any other body, like the Peace Council and all those people who are preaching peace. We believe that there is no fairness in what the EC is doing, no transparency that we perceive they will occur in this election. We don't think there will be transparency because so many things have started happening right now. And it's like the Peace Council, the Christian Council, who were on NDC when we were in power, are silent. And this brings suspicion. We believe that they are in bed with the government and we don't trust them anymore. Right. And if we don't trust them, it will lead to chaos, and which we do all pray to happen. Right. We want peace. Right. So tell them to do the right thing for us to all enjoy the peace we are enjoying. Thank you.
Right, thank you. So, Father, I'll begin with you. We'll begin with that one because earlier as well, there was a question around what you are doing to help institutions be more transparent and be accountable to the people. Good. So I'll begin with you on that.
Yes, you see, the problem we are facing in this country is that from the national level, they write a script and then they circulate it in the whole country. And people just start reading the script and reading the script and reading the script. And everywhere you go, oh, the Christian Council and the Catholic Church, they were in bed, and the Peace Council in bed with the government, blah, blah, blah. My brother is one of the top guys in NDC. In the last election, I had just come home back from Nandom to Damango. He calls me. Yes, you people and your Peace Council in bed with the government. The Catholic, the Archbishop, the president of the Bishops' Conference wanted to meet the EC, and the EC refused to meet her. And when we talk, you say what? That morning, I was with the Archbishop, and he was sharing with me the outcome of the meeting he had with the EC. So when he finished, I said, I'm just coming from Pina, and the Archbishop has just shared with me the meeting he had with the EC boss. So what are you talking about? They said, really? I said, what do you mean by really? You are a lawyer. So you don't even have your facts together, you are talking like this. Of course, he's my junior brother, I can tell him what I want. But you see, let me tell you something. Ghana, we have one Ghana. If you ask me the question whether MPP, NDC, the value is the same. The value is the same. Have you noticed that the party in opposition loves Ghana? The party in opposition knows all the problems of Ghana. This current government has just given us a beautiful picture of how politicians can be ingenious. And you see that they've started playing back some of those. So let me say to NDC, the biggest problem is this: be strategic. Be strategic. You know, we are busy making noise instead of focusing on the election. Are you getting it? You send lawyers to polling stations to go and watch this thing. Today, elections is technology. The NDC should focus in organizing in such a way that 2 hours after voting and counting of votes, they can declare the results. Please, focus on winning the elections and stop worrying about other people. You get it? That's number one. Number two, we have administrative styles. Do you know how many meetings the Peace Council has held with the EC, with the government? Do you know how many meetings? The recent chairman who just retired, he doesn't like to talk to the media, the Bishops' Conference. But I have followed every single engagement. So you see, in this work, sometimes you are sitting down and people are talking, and because of the information that you have, you cannot talk. And the saddest part is that you sit down, people who don't know anything about what is going on is misleading people. So let's say this: we in Ghana, we need NDC and we need MPP. We need CPP and we need all the political parties. So my advice to any political party: stop making all this noise, stop all this news thing, and focus on winning the elections. Tell us what you will do when you come and how you are going to do it. You get it? My biggest worry is that the elections may come and pass, NDC will win. Then after that we have a coup d'etat. You know why? Because the infighting in NDC makes the country ungovernable. That's my fear. I'll be very honest with you. You get it? When you go to the other parties, normally when we meet the party executives, me, I'm 60-something years old, I'm not married, I've enjoyed life, I can die. As my brother has said, I will tell you the truth in the face. Do whatever you want. But yes, you have just repeated a story that we have heard over and over and over again. And if you think that, for me, I always tell people, you know what, you want to ban Ghana, ban Ghana. I still have a green card. And most probably I'll travel before December 7th. But majority of the ordinary poor people cannot do that. And you see, when you go to parliament and you see the NDC, MPP parliamentarians drinking tea together and eating fried chicken together, then you come down and see how people are fighting. It's very disheartening and very discouraging.
Father, there was also a question around the length when it came to determining cases.
Yes, institutions.
Yes.
To your question, I will say, look at the National Framework for Counter-Terrorism and Violent Extremism. The framework is clear. Every single government entity has a role to play. That's a role to play. You see it. So it says all of government, all of society. Recently, we were reviewing it, and we saw that if I would ask in the room here, how many of you have read the document? If I get 5 people, I'm lucky. But they're reviewing the document already. So that document provides for all the state institutions to play a role, and each one of them has a role to play. In our program that NCC is part of, FIAP, that is working with the security services, has been the last 2 years trying to build the capacity of the security services in intelligence. Mr. Seidu is here. Integration, collaboration. Our next program, we are going to be working with the Ghana Police, community policing, beautiful strategy. They piloted 2 places in Accra, Ashaman, and Suhum, and the document has been shelved. We have secured money to make sure that the police take this strategy and run with it. 4 months, we are still waiting for the clearance to start. And we have only 18 months to implement. So the institutions must know that as institutions of state, they have the obligation to act in ways that keeps the peace of this country. And if in any government institution, integrity is better than anything. And I just wish many more officers will resign on principle. But hey, who am I?
Yes, Doc.
Just to add a little to the role of institutions. Aside we working closely with the institutions themselves, this project is also looking at engaging citizens for them to understand the role of key security agencies, civil society, among others. So we are doing a lot of work in all the districts within the 5 northern regions and the other project districts for them to appreciate, for example, how different the role of, let's say, the Ghana Armed Forces is from Ghana Immigration Service. So the people are also being engaged so that they are able to access services when needed. So we are doing a lot of work in that direction.
As I said, would there need any contributions from you as well? Right. So, Madam Chairperson, there was an issue around logistics so that what has been discussed here does not stay here, but NCC officials can go around and also, for people who are not here, they can also have access to the information shared here. I don't know if you would want to respond to that.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your patience even while we work towards the end of this program. Yes, the problem of logistics. There is a problem of logistics, but we are here today. So it means that the problem we have around logistics is not one that makes it totally impossible to work. In NCC, we have offices in every district. So it doesn't mean that we from Accra have to drive to a district in Northeast to do work. The office is there. They may not be able to go as far to the end of the district, but they can cover a lot of it. And for us as an institution, we like to focus on what we are actually doing and what we can do given the resources that we have. Because if we focus on what we don't have, how does that educate anybody? If we are supposed to educate 1,000 people and you have 500 people in front of you, I think you spend the energy educating that 500 and hope that they will go and educate others rather than use that small opportunity to talk about what you can't do. I don't believe in that. So all the time we talk about what we can do, what we have done. The staff of NCC are very hardworking. They work in very hard conditions, but they still work. Without transport, they walk. So let's not belittle their effort by saying, shifting the focus on other things. The institution has been systematically under-resourced right from the start of the Fourth Republic. It's a problem. But does that mean that work is not going on? Please, does that mean work is not going on? We are here today. I have just commended our regional director and his staff for creating this opportunity for all of us. So yes, there is a problem of logistics, but it does not mean that work is not going on. So when you are also judging us, look at what has been done and not just what has not been done. Look at these kids in this kit. They are members of the Civic Education Club. These are clubs that we have in many, many schools that are doing their best as young people. Look at the brilliant performance. Why don't we focus on these things and say, what else can we do in addition to that? Let's be positive. What can we do to move forward? What can we do? I will prefer the focus, because otherwise you'll be doing my staff a great disservice. They are hardworking, they are doing their best, and they're really trying circumstances. Let's focus on the work they are doing. Thank you.
We are happy for this particular session. We are very happy. But I want to comment small on the last speaker. It's unfortunate that some people's minds are already made that no matter what, there will be violence. It's unfortunate. After this beautiful speech, and we don't even know if it comes to that time, and you say, I won't agree, and you go, you might be the first person to be shot. And you have lost your life. So please, let us give them benefit of doubt that even if they assist, let's say they are in bed with the party, if you would act very well and campaign very well, your party will win. And you put shame on them, though you supported them. We have won. So please, we are begging you, let us accept the teachings here and go home in peace and go and preach the peace. Thank you very much.
So, Father, just to put everything in a nice note, if in just a minute you can just share your final words with us, then we close finally out of here. Just a minute.
My final word is that I have a lot of great faith in Ghanaians. Everybody is asking, you Ghanaians, how have you made it? All around you is burning and you are peaceful. And I do believe that with this kind of education, with a little bit of goodwill, if we really make up our minds to work together, Ghana will be a haven. I think that I may be naive, but I believe in Ghana, and I think that God will see us through.
A round of applause for Reverend Father Clement Ampenyo. Dr. Asante Safo.
Yes. Thank you very much. We all owe it a responsibility to be agents of peace and ensure that what we have come to discuss here, we will be at the forefront of championing tolerance within our families, at least, and every circle in which we find ourselves. So let's carry the message along. Thank you.
A round of applause for Dr. Henrietta Asante Sapo. Right, Mr. Seidu.
Thank you. I would have done myself a great disservice if I didn't acknowledge the chief who spoke about the lion and the other animals. He has given us some proverbs, but they are well packed. Indeed, when I was a dining hall prefect in Boku Secondary School, and students wanted to demonstrate before because they had given them sorghum. You know, around the 80s, there was this famine. And so students were making noise. And I said, my friends, eat and be strong and learn. Nobody's going to see through your stomach and say that this is sorghum. So that patience that we had and ate sorghum earned us so well. So like my brother talked about trust, I think trust is very important, and that builds tolerance. If you mistrust somebody, you may misjudge the person. So follow up when you have issues. Maybe somebody, that's why we have structures. If it's political, we have structures. Follow the structures and get the truth, and that is when you have saved a lot. But if you take to arms, you take to violence, at the end of the day, the number of people that you want to vote for you, you would have lost them. So you would have lost them, and their vote count will go down. So let's have the trust. Let's follow structures and get our grievances resolved. Thanks.
Thank you. A very big round of applause for Mr. Seidu. And Mr. Seidu is Savannah Regional Security Officer. A big round of applause for all of our discussants who've done a marvelous job of discussing the reason we're here. We'll invite upstage Mr. Samoa Sari Kwamwa to give us closing remarks, and then we're out of here. Thank you. A round of applause for Mr. Kwamwa.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Let me stand on the existing protocols to make these few closing remarks. A lot have been said here. The seats are very hot, not even warm. We need to get out of here quickly. I want to point out that in all the discussions that have transpired here, there is one other thing that we need to pay attention to: radicalization at all levels. We should be very, very aware of that. If we get radicalized, we will believe in whatever is being put out there. If you expect that the violent extremist or the terrorist is coming physically to commit the acts of violent extremism, it may be a mirage. When you have people around you who are radicalized, and so in our sayings and especially in public gatherings, people who will influence people in authority, what we say must be guided. And I want to thank the Overlord's rep for the intervention he made, that we should be very careful about radicalization. If people believe in cutting people's hands off, people's arms off, people's heads off because they have committed offense, that's against the laws of this country, because we are a democratic country. If you believe in it, you are one of them. If you believe in stoning people who have committed or who have committed acts of violence, or who have incurred the displeasure of the authorities along the laws of the country, then you must make sure you are doing so also within the law. But if you believe that cutting people's hands off, if you commit an offense, we get you and cut your arm off. If you believe in that and you are not holding the weapon to do it, you are also a violent extremist. And so if you don't believe in our institutions and you think that people must attack our institutions of state because they are not doing their work, you perceive them not to be doing their work, and so they should be attacked, then you are also one of them. And that is where I am trying to hammer on the radicalization, that we should be very, very careful on the issue about radicalization. Chiefs, with all due respect, it has been said here that politicians will come and greet you, but when they come to greet you, you must also watch out the kind of assurances that you give them. Sometimes your assurances appear to be campaign messages, and you are going to lose the kind of influence that you wield, because people will see you to be taking sides. So I want to appeal to you, or we want to appeal to you, that when they go or before they go on their campaign, they come to your palace and greet you, be careful what you tell them. I don't think it is proper for any chief to promise any of the politicians or candidates that they and their subjects will vote for them. I don't think it is proper. We should also watch this thing, because we wield some influence, and if we do so, we are losing that influence because our country is polarized. Madam Chair has ably spoken about vote selling and vote buying. Vote selling and vote buying. I think Father also spoke about it and expatiated on it. He really expatiated on it. But what I want to add is that once you sell the vote, you take money and vote for the candidate who paid you, you have no right to demand any accountability from that candidate when he is successful. Our constitution has arranged that we choose our leaders, and when we choose them, they come to serve us. They come to serve us. But when you take money from them and they win, you vote for them and they win the election, they have no service to render to you. You have sold that right. And I want us to take that one seriously. You have no moral right to demand accountability from any politician from your constituency who has won an election, or even at the national level, presidency, who has won an election. You have no moral right to demand any accountability from that person. And that is the other one I want to. And before I take my seat, or I conclude on it, I want to also express my nostalgic feelings for coming here today, because this region is a great one to the National Commission for Civic Education. It has produced two great leaders for our commission. It produced one of the pioneer members of the commission, Madame Susanna Adam. I think she was from Wale Wale, or she contested the election, Wale Wale. She served as a commission member. Now Northeast, used to be Northern Region. And then our late chairman, Mr. Larry Farhan Bimi, was from Bimbagu here. And so all the efforts that the regional minister eloquently spoke about and the achievement of peace and stability here, we contributed a lot because our leader was from here. And when the communities here, Tema and others, were bent down and others, we were here. And we did a lot of peace building. So that goodwill, that cord is there. And we believe that we are going to get your support, chiefs and people of the Northeast region, because we have a cord with you to support our staff to deliver the mandate of the commission. The overflowed issue about lack of resources, Madam Chair has spoken about it. It's overflowed. We don't have resources. It is true. But Madam Chair didn't want to tell you. But I know the commission very soon will give 1 or 2 vehicles to your regional office here, up Northeast region. And when it happens, I'm sure it will go to reduce the kind of overflowing of that issue. So, Madam Chairman, on this note, I would like to bring to an end my closing remarks and to say that all the people herein gathered, we should take away all the comments that have been said here and make sure we put them into practice. We need to walk the talk, because civic education is a shared responsibility. And the coming election will come, other elections will come, but Ghana remains Ghana. And we have been told how close states that are failing are to us. And so we should not allow anything that will create any fertile grounds for them to come and nurture the violence that had led them into state failure. I thank you very much for your attention, and we believe come the 7th of January, 7th of December 2024, we are all going to vote peacefully. Please, we should not be complacent that, oh, there will be massive turnout. There has always been massive turnout. Let's go and vote. We should not be complacent. We should not be bogged down by the hard economic situation. It's a global issue. We are taking our share of the economic crisis, and that should not discourage us from exercising our franchise by going to vote on 7th December 2024. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chairman in charge of operations, Mr. Samuel Asare Kwamwa. We would like to thank our discussants and our moderator for doing a very excellent job today. We appreciate and we acknowledge all the commitments that went into preparing for this discussion. Thank you so much. God bless you. So, we're just about wrapping up. And so, I would like to thank the Almighty for a successful event. I want to thank the leadership of the Commission for making it possible for this program to take place. A special thanks to the European Union, our dependable partner for more than a decade. And we've been partnering with them, and it's been very productive and impactful. We'd like to thank the regional minister as well, who earlier took leave of us because he has equally important national assignments elsewhere. So he left with Madam's permission. We'd like to thank our revered chiefs. They've sat throughout the program, and we really appreciate your presence. We thank our service commanders. You also sat throughout the program, and we are thankful. Thank you so much for coming. We thank our institutional reps. I may not be able to go through all the list, but we thank all of you for being present here. A special thanks to the students who demonstrated how important for us to safeguard our peace and prevent and contain violent extremism in our country. A special thanks to media colleagues. Without you, I mean, we are not going to hear anything out there, but I would like to make this special appeal that we push the Ghana agenda. Every discussion that we've had here should be in the interest of Ghana. Promote this program on your respective platforms. Give us positive coverage and massive one. So from tomorrow, we'll be calling all of you to be asking, where is our story? And you'll be hearing from us. Please give us enough publicity. We need it. And then my special thanks to our regional office, our regional director. Today he has received director, watch me small. Thank you so much for bringing all these beautiful people here to grace your occasion. We thank all of us, everybody. In fact, I'm thanking myself too. Yes, Mother. We thank all of us. So there's a special emphasis, a directive from the chairman of the commission. This theme is very dear to her because it speaks volume. I'm going to read this again, and we all repeat it before we take our closing prayer. Together we can build Ghana, so get involved. It's very well explanatory. I said that earlier. Can we all repeat it so we get it soaked into our system? Together we can build Ghana, so get involved. Again, please. Together we can build Ghana, so get involved. It tells us that we all have a role to play. If you're a media person, if you're a security officer, if you're a civic educator, if you're a health professional, if you're a political party activist, if you're an electoral officer, wherever you find yourself working in this country, you have a role to play so we can build Ghana together. Thank you very much. On that note, I would like to call on the Chief Imam's rep to give us a closing prayer. He is in the person of Suleimana Abu. I hope I got your name right, sir. Thank you.
Salatu ala Nabi al-Karim. We thank Almighty Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for ending this program successful. When we depart here, some of us are going to travel to far and near places. May Almighty Allah send each and every one of us back to our destination safely. Allah destroy all evil plans against us on the way, and let us go back and meet our family as how we left them. Allahumma anta matana bidu'aka fa'ajib lana du'ana kama wa'adatana innaka la tukhlifu mi'ad. Allahumma anta bihawaijina alim wa la qada'iha qadir famnan alayna bi qada'iha ya qadir ya mayassir kullu asir fa inna taysira kullu asir ya qadir wa muqtadir bi sirrika al qadir innaka ala kulli shay'in qadir. اللهم أنت إلهنا في السماوات والأرض لا إله فيهما غيرك فانصرنا على جميع أعدائنا واقض كل حاجاتنا ابنك لا تلف ميعاد إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Thank you very much. Okay, so, Madam, with your permission, we bring the program to a close. Media colleagues, we are available for interviews. So, please, Madam is right here. If you have any questions for him, any further explanations, she will be in a position to answer all your questions. Please, we will have, if there's going to be any interview, we'll have it right here. So, we have the backdrop indicating right here, please. Thank you.